Okay, we're on to our fireside chat. The new leadership blueprint, skills over biases. That's the theme that we are going to be talking about. And as you know, ladies and gentlemen, leadership today is being rewritten, no longer defined by old hierarchies or hidden biases. It now belongs to those who bring real skills, adaptability, innovation, collaboration, and clarity. The new leadership blueprint challenges us to look beyond labels and recognize talent based on capability, not assumptions. It pushes organizations to value diverse voices, to reward merit, and create spaces where potential can truly rise. Skill over biases is the blueprint for a fairer, for a stronger, and future-ready world of leadership. We've got with us today Uma Reddy, President FKCCI, a first-generation entrepreneur with 41 years of experience. Uma started her journey when entrepreneurship was barely recognized. She's the Managing Director of High-Tech Magnetics and Electronics Private Limited, that delivers critical transformer and coil technologies for over 3 decades now. A strong voice for MSMEs, she's been an active leader in trade associations, driving policy advocacy, industry support, and entrepreneur development. Uma is also a passionate champion of women's entrepreneurship, committed to learning, to sharing, and strengthening India's business ecosystem. We also have with us Shaili Chopra, the founder of Firebrand Platforms, Gayatri, and She the People, and now a titan on ZTV's homegrown startup show, Idea Bars. A speaker on global platforms and forums, Shaili shares her insights on leadership, health, and founding new ideas. She's an award-winning former journalist and moderator with over 2 decades of experience at NDTV, ET Now, and CNBC. She has hosted sessions at the World Economic Forum Davos, NASDAQ, Women's Forum Paris, Geneva, WIPO, and many, many others. To steer this conversation, we have with us Neerja Ganesh, a leadership trainer and coach whose journey itself is a masterclass in courage and conviction. After a 25-year career in IT, she stepped into the arena of gender advocacy when she saw far too many women battling overwhelm, self-doubt, imposter syndrome, and perfectionism. Determined to change that narrative, Neerja spent years transforming mindsets through powerful mentoring, coaching, and leadership workshops. And her commitment to building women leaders has culminated in her pioneering Trailblaze Hers program, a transformative 6-month journey shaping the next generation of bold, confident female trailblazers. So please welcome all of them and all the energy that they deserve. A special dose for our moderator, a formidable advocate for women's leadership and a force of change. So it's over to you, Neerja.
Good morning. And I don't even have to ask how's the Josh, because I did peep from backstage. The Josh was on a high. And so with that, let's get on with our conversation today. And all of us have written some form of a test or an exam over the years. And we know that the question paper has one-word answers, one-line answers, and essay-type answers. And that's how we're going to do today's conversation. So let's get started with the one-word answers. So for both of you, Shaili and Uma, what is the most overrated quality we still associate with leadership today? Shaili.
One word, dominance.
Whoa.
I would say know it all.
Really? Let's figure this out as we go ahead. Fill in the blanks. That's also in the question paper, right? A leader is someone who fill in the blanks.
Who is hard relate for the people they lead.
Fantastic.
Who answers her own conscience and goes forward.
That's beautiful. And the last one word that we would like to know. What's one bias that still silently shapes who gets called a leader?
Being Rambo at work.
I would say constantly proving yourself as a woman leader.
Sure, yeah. For me, I think it's about being perfect, not making mistakes, right? And this morning, and always taking the right decisions. And this morning, some of you know, I took a wrong decision. I chose a cab over coming on a metro, despite the fact that both the days I was here in a metro. And what a decision it was. But I think a leader shows up. Doesn't matter what happens, a leader shows up and then picks it up from wherever it is and moves ahead.
Thank you, Neerja, for making it.
Thank you. All right. So the start of my own leadership journey many, many years ago was from a meek, timid, shy girl. And many on this room today are not going to believe that, but that's who I was. I was part of a team where the team lead was sent on site for about 6 months. And so someone had to fill in his shoes. Yeah, his shoes. And then, it's in the early 2000s, leadership was equal to technical leadership. So you are the most technically sound person, you are made the leader. And I happen to be that. In a team of 10 who were almost as good as me, but maybe I was a notch higher. And that's how I started my leadership journey. And over the years, in these last 25 years, things have dramatically changed. I recently remember hearing Lalita Ahuja, the founder of Ansar, the organization that sets up GCCs here. He said the most important leadership trait in a GCC leader that he would look for is influencing without authority. So that speaks a lot, right? I mean, regardless of whether you are in a position of authority or not, influencing outcomes is all that a leader needs to do. So Shaili, from where you sit, what is the biggest shift happening right now in how we recognize and elevate leaders?
I think the biggest shift is the fact that leaders today have to be relatable to the people that they're leading. Not only from a conscience point of view, not only from a technical skill point of view, but just at a human-to-human level. I think given the amount of automation, AI, as well as the vast opportunity and ideas that are sitting on our table today, I think the baseline is you've got to be good, you've got to have a great product, you've got to have great service, and so that leads leadership to start focusing on what's going to be our biggest challenge going forward, people-to-people connections. And I genuinely think connections aren't necessarily about policies, because that's a big mistake in our world. Oh, leadership is about creating certain number of leaves for certain things, or, creating a package for you in the organization. I actually think it's really about spending more time getting to know the people you're leading. And also recognizing that sometimes you have to lead very, very large numbers, but that doesn't mean that you don't have a complete hold on what a subset of that big number is up to. So in that sense, I do feel that there is always going to be business pressure and objectives and goals. And mind you, I'm all for it. You do need to chase profitability. You need to chase growth and scale. But you can only do it if you have a bunch of happy people, happy showing up at the organization every day. Not happy because there is a little selfie booth that says, I'm so happy working here. So I think that I've not been a great proponent of necessarily having a nice relaxation bed on the corner of the room, having some extra variety of hazelnuts in your coffee. I like brass tacks. Make this fun at the work level. Don't put the selling pieces in bells and whistles, because eventually that's called out. So that's my way of looking at it.
Absolutely. So staff engagement over staff satisfaction. If the staff is engaged, doesn't matter whether the food was good or not, they will still show up and perform and deliver. That's the people
But in their
connect.
head, they'll be satisfied if the, if the focus was right.
Thank you. Uma, congratulations on being appointed as the first woman president of the FKCCI, an institution with a proud 108-year-old legacy. Wow. What shifts are you seeing in the emergence of leaders from unexpected places, looking beyond bias and focusing on leadership traits?
I think it's now transformational. Having seen a journey of nearly 4 decades as an entrepreneur, from analog days to digital to AI now, I think everything is in terms of being able to relearn, learn, and learning agility is very, very important for any leader. To be collaborative, in your thought process. I remember those days of hierarchy. Somebody would say, and you would do it. I mean, that's what it was during the analog days. I think things have changed over the past few decades, and especially in the recent past. And things will not work until you have collaborative teams in the company, in your organization. There is a need for everybody to understand what the goal is and to take the team along with you, and only then you achieve success. Because of obsolescence levels, especially in tech space, I run a business manufacturing transformers, and obsolescence levels are very, very high. And when that is this change, it's just not at the design, manufacturing levels, but even right down to the operator level, who is actually doing the manufacturing process. There is a change in the mechanism in which they do. So the teams are also very important, that they also, when we hired, those were the days when you could say, these are the skill sets that are required for us to take anybody into a company. But not anymore. Right now, you look at people who are willing to quickly change, adapt, and relearn, and come up with new skills. They're the ones who get a much more quicker opportunity to be part of teams. So that's in terms of the entrepreneurial hat I wear. But I see something very, very similar as a social entrepreneur for a chamber of commerce, which is very, very traditional, started 108 years ago by Sir M. Visvesvaraya. Those were the days where there were traders, to have a woman in a chamber of commerce were very far and few. To actually have you lead this organization is definitely, I would say, a makeover kind of a situation. So, that's something which I'm happy to see, that, there is that feeling of inclusivity. And then you also have to make sure that you take them along as you go along.
So a quick add-on to that, do you still see biases?
Oh, yes. Have to be honest about it. There are biases. It's going to take some more time for it to change. But yes, I think things are better. Having seen a lot of change being there. But as I said right at the beginning, as women entrepreneurs, as women leaders, we have to constantly prove ourselves.
And we will continue to do that, because if
Yes.
that is what it takes, then that is what it takes.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Uma, for that. Shelley, I've been a constant ardent fan of your content. This is something that I picked up from one of your LinkedIn posts. And she says, start when people say don't. That's been the story of your life and work. From leaving CNBC, a global platform, to helping build India's homegrown business channels, NDTV, Profit, and ET Now, Shelley grew with India's economic rise, its entrepreneurs, and its new confidence. When no one believed India needed a women's platform, she built She the People. Millions of women proved that it was required. When no one believed women needed real wellness, not vanity, she built Gayatri for women in midlife and pause. Now with Idea Buzz, a new mega founders show on Z, where she joined as a titan, she's going back to where it all began, championing those who dare to build. Proving that leadership is not about a title. It's not an appointment, it's not a presence in the office. What must change, Shelley, in narratives, systems, expectations, for us to be truly recognizing capability rather than conformity in a leader?
I think it starts with all of us. For a very long time, we have sat on this stage and talked about what we all could do collectively. But maybe in this hall, I would say, let's start with what we can do individually. One of the biggest things we face today is an aspiration gap among women. Whether when they're starting or when they're growing, when they're middle management, and certainly a lot when they're in their top management journey, we say, maybe I won't be able to go beyond this. And I think the time has come to look at yourself in the mirror and say, it's not about maybe, I have to. Because if you tell yourself that, you're not just doing this for yourself. I genuinely think we aren't a country, not even a world today, especially with what's happening in the United States. And many of you are actually working with organizations with the headquarters there. We're reversing the way people have made efforts to make this world an equal one. So each individual needs to push and take that leap of faith about themselves so that the collective leap is much higher. It's a wave. And it's going to be harder and harder as we grow in the next decade because the world is becoming more conservative again. Beauty standards are going back to measuring women back on fairness. Governments around the world are going to be more conservative. Organizations have to toe the line where they are. So I think it brings back the onus on us. As I always say, behind every woman is herself. Now is the time to stand up for her.
Thank you. Of course. It's just with us, in our hands, in our heads, in our hearts. Now let me just kind of move a little to a different, phase here. So my daughter, and some of you would know her, and I'm not sure whether she's in the audience yet today. My daughter, all of 23, and I deliver a lot of talks and workshops together. And I'm not going to disclose my age, you can just figure that out. She very clearly tells me that the audience of today, and we know it's largely a youngish audience, will not connect with me because I'm really, archaic. This wisdom that I bring is, the wisdom of then. So I try. I try to understand the audience. And sometimes that becomes easy by just letting my daughter lead and I following behind. So in today's day and age of AI, multi-generational, interdisciplinary, gender diverse, and inclusive workspaces, what is still the biggest struggle for leaders, Shelley?
So I just want to say one thing, that especially in this room where I can see both Gen Zs and the millennials in wide numbers, I genuinely think, and I might be disagreeing with your daughter here a bit, that the way millennials are voraciously learning to upskill, hats off to them. Like, hats off to them. And the way that Gen Z is reminding us that you're not going to throw a new logo and a tagline and buy us out, hats off to you too. So I think leadership is really changing because you're bringing together consciousness, awareness of what's value versus vanity, and truly starting to realize that the leaders of the future are going to be looking at brass tacks. You're not going to be bought into something that looks glitzy and pay some millions for it, when you can actually go back to your roots and find something behind in your garden and say, listen, real value is sitting here, I'm just not valuing it. So I think leadership today has got many, many challenges, including straddling this generational shift, embracing going back to what are brass tacks, and most importantly saying that, you know what, if I think about the next 10, 20 years, let me think about the next 3 years. Let's get real. What's happening in the next 3 years? Smaller goals, but goals. That doesn't mean goals are not significant. They're just more achievable. And I think the reason I'm saying this is because all of us have heard the word in Bangalore, 2047, haven't we? This country is on a mission to go at 2047 as India turns 100. I'm saying just go till 2030, fix women's health, fix women's economy, create more opportunities, empower women to become intrapreneurs in organizations, entrepreneurs outside, as Uma and her entire team at the Chamber are doing. I think sometimes the journey from small to scale to significance needs to happen in short bursts so that the collective burst is far more impactful. That's where I think we need to start thinking of capacity building today.
Thank you. I hope Sneha was hearing that. Uma, now the same question, but let's look at it from the people's end, the talent that we say. What are their struggles with today's leaders?
I think, the ecosystem that is there today, is just fantastic. there is a vibrancy around. As you said, 2047 is happening. Everybody is talking about where India is growing. We want to be there, the second fastest growing country in the world. We are there. And there is an opportunity, be it financial institutions, be it the venture capitalists, be it the angel investors, be it the government in whatever it does. Everybody is there trying to lay out that huge red carpet for the young entrepreneurs. I'm wearing the hat of an entrepreneur, but all the young entrepreneurs to come there, to start, to look, to dream, to think of what they would like to do and what they would, go forward. And most importantly, there are a whole lot of mentors who are available, for the young entrepreneurs to start off and to make that dream come true, to handhold them and support them. And here is that opportunity for all these young ones to think, be it intrapreneurial, be it entrepreneurial, but there is an opportunity, and all you need to take is that one leadership step ahead to say that there may be a problem, there may be an opportunity that you want to take forward and see that it happens. And I see, and at least I see what I see among the young and the ones who I see as startup entrepreneurs, the zeal, the commitment is huge. Yes, and what's more important is that thanks to this era, everybody wants to see success immediately. And that is not a negative as it used to be in our days. Success meant it had to be a 7-year journey. But now success is just possible in days and weeks, even probably months. And that's how you see the unicorns that are there, happening and starting off their businesses and taking it to the world across. So I think being a global company is very easy as long as you have the idea, the concept, the process, and most importantly, the commitment to make it happen. And I see that zeal. And in a way, many say, oh, the present generation do not have that kind of, focus. They get disturbed or they get distracted very quickly. But I think that's good, because they quickly change over. They find that it's not working, and then they change over and they start. So you see a lot more serial entrepreneurs, which were not there in the good old days. You were an entrepreneur one time, one product, and one service. I don't see that. You see serial entrepreneurs, you see them succeed. So, see a lot more happening. And I really wish I was born in this era. Thank you.
Thank you, Mahir. So in closing, again, back to a one-word answer. What capability will define the leader of today and tomorrow? Shaili first.
The ability to just be energetic for a long, long time.
And Uma?
I would say passion and perseverance.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely, right? So to me, the leader of today and the coming days is someone who acts on the problems or the opportunities that they see, as we've kind of heard from our panelists, their own stories, and the commitment that they are giving on behalf of all of us to say that you identify a problem, you see an opportunity, go for it, right? It's not about waiting to be handed over something. And if I were to go back, I quit from my corporate stint of 25 years in 2017 rather, but in 2016 my company had asked me to put out a recommendation to hire women on a career break. And I didn't understand why, because I had never taken a break. So I attended a conference for women on a career break, and I realized that there is an issue. Let alone getting hired. I think getting to the interview was, a big, big issue for women on a career break, because the interviewers or the panelists used to look at their break and forget their past experience. And I told myself, I'm going to do something about this. Didn't know what, but I said I'm going to do something about it, even if it meant I had to just help one woman restart her career. And let me also give out a trivia here. It was at that conference that I saw our Shreya Krishnan emceeing for the first time. And I thought, what does it take to be on a stage like that? 2016. And here I am today. I picked up every small, big opportunity, whether it is to mentor, coach, speak, write, train women. And that's what brings you to where the three of us, and many others are. So do not look at it as a competence. It is about opportunities to pick up and drive and put up your hand. And that's all it takes to be a leader. Each of us is one. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.